This is the Vince Salerno Podcast, episode 21. On today's episode, we have Shelby Turner with us talking about Spider-Man and all his movies, also Baby Driver 2 being a possibility, and Samuel L. Jackson returning to the MCU. So sit back and relax because the Vince Salerno Podcast starts right now. Hey guys, welcome to the Vince Salerno Podcast on this Friday, July 7th, 2017. You're probably listening to this on a Monday, but who cares? I'm your host, Vince Salerno. Just a quick note, I know it probably sounds a little like we today. We're having some issues with my audio equipment, so we are using some different stuff. So, still works though. Just work with what you got. Anyways, we have a special guest today. Very good friend of mine, one of my bestest friends in the entire galaxy, universe, planet, Shelby Turner.
Hi guys, how's it going?
Good to have you on the show again. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's funny because...
Almost a year.
Yeah, and last time we were on the podcast, I actually talked about Spider-Man as well.
Oh yeah, we were talking about Zendaya.
Yeah, Zendaya being
I
Mary
forgot
Jane.
about that.
Yeah.
Turns out she's not Mary Jane.
Yeah,
so.
thank goodness.
So, yeah, last time you were here, we were talking about Anna, and
yeah,
it premiered. I think last time JJ was on here, he said it. I was there. Obviously, it was a big success. Everybody loved it. Everybody's still loving it. Those who have actually seen it, everybody has seen it yet, but people are clamoring for it to come out on DVD or some sort of
yes, that will be coming out very soon. It's been taking a long time, but we are in the final stages of that process.
Cool. Yeah, I'd say I'm excited, but I've already seen it. So.
Yeah.
The joys of being best friends with the director and producer.
Yes.
So yeah, what else have you been up to?
Well, I've graduated, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, starting my acting career, so yeah, we'll see where it goes. Wish me luck.
She's gonna do great, guys. Be on the lookout for Shelby Turner.
Yeah, guys.
She's gonna kill it. All right, well, Shelby's here today because on the 4th of July, we unintentionally had a little Sally Field marathon.
Yes.
2 of the 3 films we watched that day just happened to be the Spider-Man Andrew Garfield movies, which feature Sally Field as Aunt May. And that was Shelby's first time seeing number 2?
Yeah, the second one.
Yeah, so I was planning on doing this episode to talk about the Spider-Man movies in honor of Spider-Man Homecoming coming out this weekend. By the time you're watching it, it's last weekend.
Yeah.
So I thought it'd be a great opportunity to have Shelby come on and talk about it, especially since I'm probably going to be going back home in about a month, so I don't know. It'll be a while if we get to do this again.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Anyways, we have top 5 stories to talk about, so let's get on with that. First, number 1, and probably the most exciting story. There is a possibility that we might get Baby Driver 2 from Edgar Wright. Turns out Sony has asked Edgar Wright to consider making Baby Driver 2. As hopefully most of you know, Baby Driver came out 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's an incredible movie. I got a chance to see it opening weekend. Shelby got to see it too, and it's such a great movie. It has this sort of it has Edgar Wright's style and feel to it, but it also has this sort of new side that we haven't seen. It has sort of a Tarantino-y feel to it as well. I really enjoyed it. These are the type of films that I want to see more and more, and fingers crossed it makes enough money to get studios to wake up and realize, oh hey, maybe people want to see more original movies.
Yeah.
I mean, the box office wasn't the opening weekend of box office wasn't exactly like Avengers or Star Wars numbers, unfortunately. It got around 30 million, I think, at the box office. So it's a success. I mean, for an Edgar Wright film, it's a major success. I think that's the most he's made out of any of his films, and it's on track to be the highest grossing Edgar Wright movie.
Yeah.
So I think people would love to see a sequel. I think it's hard because it's such a great movie. And and Edgar Wright usually doesn't make sequels to his own films.
Right.
This is the first time he's ever really considered a movie sequel. The second time was kind of with Hot Fuzz 2, but he never really went forward with that. And Shaun of the Dead 2, but that turned into Hot Fuzz. So, yeah, I don't know. I think I want a sequel, but I'm not sure.
I'm mixed feelings about it too, because I loved Baby Driver. That's probably my second favorite film.
What's your first?
La La Land.
Oh yeah.
So that's saying a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a really great film. I wasn't sure, what is this Baby Driver movie? What?
Mm-hmm.
And then seeing the trailer was just, oh my gosh, this looks so awesome. I'm so excited to see this. And actually seeing it in theaters was just, and Lily James, and oh my gosh, they just have great chemistry, and Jamie Foxx, so just an all-star cast, John Hamm, a bunch of people, it's just really, it was really, really a fun movie to see. And Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey, yeah, he was great.
He was great in that. I loved I won't say anything.
Well, okay, in order to have a meaningful conversation, spoilers, if you're watching, I'll put up little banners saying spoilers, but if you don't want to know what happens in Baby Driver, skip to the time code that I'll put up, and you'll be okay.
Yeah.
So,
but I really liked Kevin Spacey's character, because you weren't sure if he was going to be the good guy or the bad guy. The whole time you kind of hated him, and then...
I don't know, I didn't... I was kind of the same. I didn't full on hate him. I thought, okay, he hasn't done anything, terrible yet, but the trailers definitely built him up to be this is the main boss,
right?
And this is the guy you don't want to mess with.
Well, right when he thinks he's out, then he comes back in and destroys everything, which is a great plot point. But it was what, But anyways, I guess it's a great film. It was just beautiful, and and the shots and the action of and just the character of Baby. It was just really cool to see that.
And the music.
The music
is such
it's so
integral
unique.
part of the movie. Almost on par with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, it's that kind of feel. Yeah, it gives you that.
But unlike Guardians, the movie is set to the songs.
Yeah. In
a really creative way. They had to get a choreographer to set up the actions that Baby would do, and everything. And I think my favorite scene is when they're doing the swap, and they have that shootout in the warehouse, and Tequila's playing, and you hear the da da da, and the guns are firing.
The music, it's cool. Or even just the opening scene.
The opening was pretty great too.
So great. I was not expecting that at all. It was very creative and artistic and very stylized, and it was just cool to see that how Baby would see the world with what he was doing, with listening to them. Yeah, it was so cool. So
the one thing that really sort of complicates making a sequel is everyone's dead.
I know.
Jamie Foxx dies a pretty brutal death, and I saw that coming the second I saw that thing. I was like, he's dead. He's dead. He is so dead.
That was a crazy part too.
John Hamm's wife's, I forget her name.
Darling. No, I don't know the actress. I forget.
Something Gonzalez. She was great, by the way. Not to undermine her. She was fantastic. She dies, which puts John Hamm's character in the position of being sort of the main antagonist, which is really cool because he was the one who really cared about Baby. He, every time people were giving him a hard time, he would be like, "Hey, leave him alone."
Yeah.
And he, bond with him about the music. So it was so heart-wrenching to see, "But you're a good guy. What are you doing?"
I know.
Because the whole time you're thinking Kevin Spacey's going to be the one that's going to rip his heart out or rip his guts out or shoot him in the ears or whatever.
Right? Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah.
But then Kevin Spacey ends up being the one that saves him and Deborah, Debbie. And he dies.
I know.
Stupid John Hamm. And then of course John Hamm dies as well. So they're all dead.
Yeah, and okay, so my biggest thing with the sequel and what what Edgar Wright said was kind of along the lines of, well, he's not into, like redoing something that he's already done kind of thing, especially in terms of characters. And he was kind of hinting, not really, saying for sure, but hinting at, if we're going to do a Baby Driver 2, it's got to be different. So maybe Baby isn't the good guy anymore. Yeah, maybe. And I just thought the film was so beautiful because he finally realized, like, we can't do this, like, and I don't want to bring, like, Deborah into this, And so now they're even kind of flirting with the idea of, like, a Bonnie and Clyde kind of. And that's kind of badass, but it's kind of really depressing because I just love the goodness, and because they're both still young, and like, Baby's been doing this since he was a kid, and so it was like, finally he's out of it and he can just live his life. But what story would that be? Yeah,
well, especially if you consider how Bonnie and Clyde die. Like, I don't know if you've seen the movie Bonnie and Clyde, but that death is just...
Right.
Oh, man, and it's so sad because I think you're just so attached to the relationship between the two characters in the movie.
But what they're doing is not right,
Yeah, so exactly. Like... So it's sort of like House of Cards, where you're rooting for
the anti-hero.
The anti-hero. Yeah. I don't know why I'm forgetting his name. It's one of my favorite shows. Frank Underwood.
Okay.
You're rooting for Frank and Claire to win, but at the same time, it's like, but what they're doing is wrong, but you still want them to get away with it. That's what's so clever about the show. That's what keeps me watching. And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I want Baby and especially Deborah to be corrupted like that.
Right. I mean,
but still, Edgar Wright says that he might have another story to tell with those characters. Right. So, I mean, as long as Edgar Wright's doing it, and as long as he has a good idea. Because he hasn't made a bad movie since. Like, he's made 5 movies. All of them have gotten over 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. So that's an accomplishment in itself. So I hope that he really, really considers this. And if he doesn't think it's right, that he doesn't move forward.
Yeah,
I would not be heartbroken if he decides, you know what, I can't make a worthy sequel to this without corrupting what came before. So I'm just not going to do it. Plus, it was a huge undertaking. Like, I think he's had this idea for a long time, and that movie couldn't have been easy to make with all the choreography, all the action scenes. So it's another big undertaking. So Edgar Wright, if you're listening, do what you want. If you want to do another Cornetto trilogy or another original film or a sequel, do your thing. I ask of you, consider a Simon Pegg, Nick Frost cameo next time. It's a little disappointed, but I'll live. All right, let's move on before we could talk about this movie all day.
I know, honestly.
It's
a great movie.
I'll have to do a review on my channel.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Okay. Number 2, Samuel L. Jackson is returning to the MCU as Nick Fury in 2018-19's Captain Marvel. If those of you who don't know, Captain Marvel is a female superhero in the MCU. She's going to be played by Brie Larson. And not a lot's really known about this movie except that it's being directed by... I have to look up these names because I always forget their names. Anna Boden and Ryan Fleek, a directing duo who directed Mississippi Crime, which I've never seen, but I've heard is a good movie. This is great because I've been wanting for a long time, like, where is Nick Fury? He obviously was a big part of the Avengers. He was in Winter Soldier. He's been in the shows. He disappeared a little bit after Age of Ultron. He had a very small part, and that's been my big question. Like, where is he? He is the one who created the Avengers. Obviously, he's got to be a big part in Infinity War, so it's cool to see that they're bringing him back in with this movie to introduce Captain Marvel, and that he'll probably have a bigger role that'll bleed into Infinity War, which is everything that's been built up for the past 10 years.
Yeah. That'll be really exciting.
And I mean, there's like I said, we don't know anything about this movie really, except that Brie Larson's in it. They've got directors, Samuel Jackson's in it, but I'm curious to see, like, where he is at this point, because last time we saw him, he had the Quinjet, he had most of S.H.I.E.L.D. intact, but there's also the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show, which, for some unknown reason, refuses to acknowledge the movies, vice versa. So hopefully maybe we get like a Phil Coulson cameo where we bring him back into the fold or whatever. But is S.H.I.E.L.D. going to be in this movie? Do they have a part at all? Is this going to be a more cosmic film, or is it going to be a more earthbound movie?
Yeah. I think that's interesting because I read another article, kind of veering off here, but still on topic, with Captain Marvel. They were thinking, I don't think that she is going to be a part of the Avengers. I'm sure you know this too, that she's actually a part of the Guardians.
Yeah, but she does interact with the Avengers.
Of course, yeah.
I think eventually she does join the team. But yeah, she is a more cosmic character, so that's what I'm thinking, like, Guardians 3, maybe?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what they're going to play with Captain Marvel being, because she is like, that bridge between the Earth and space and that kind of character. And we haven't really seen that since, Thor and different characters like that, so it'll be interesting to see how much they do that.
Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of Brie Larson, so seeing more so as an actress, less so politically. We won't get into that. Whatever. She kills it in everything she does. She's a phenomenal actress. Rightfully won an Oscar for Room, which is just heart-wrenching movie. Totally well-deserved, and to see, I've had my eye on her for a long time, and to see her finally rise to stardom is so great for her, so I'm super happy that she's getting these opportunities. Also, I forgot, this is going to be a Kong Skull Island reunion, because Samuel Jackson played the villain in Kong Skull Island. She was in that, and that was already kind of a Marvel Cinematic Universe-y type crossover thing, because you got Loki, you got Captain Marvel, you got Nick Fury. John C. Reilly was in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that was it. John wasn't in anything. But yeah, you had those 4 characters who were all in Marvel movies. It was like, that's cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
So,
seeing them in a whole different
for all you Kong Skull Island fans, you best get excited. Okay, let's. Do you have anything you want to add, or?
What was I gonna say?
Like I said, there's really not a lot to go off of on this story, but
yeah. I guess that it's cool to see like actors like Brie Larson or like even Paul Rudd, who they were both different actors before. They Paul Rudd did like comedy and Brie Larson did very serious, and now like they have these roles as, or even like Andrew Garfield in Spider-Man. We'll get to that. He was known for other things and then did a character and then is now able to do other things, because I just think that's cool. That it's kind of hard to do the opposite, be known as this big superhero character and then try to do serious stuff or other things or break out of that mold.
Right.
And it's cool to see kind of the opposite happening with them. Like, now that they've kind of made their way to fame, now they can be a superhero.
Exactly.
Like, it's neat.
That's a good point. Okay, number 3. We're getting a Top Gun sequel. 30 years later. 33 years after the original. It's going to be called Top Gun Maverick, released on July 12th, 2019, with Tom Cruise coming back and Oblivion Helmer and Tron Legacy Helmer Joseph Kosinski as the director. So I don't know if you've seen Top Gun. Have you seen Top Gun?
I believe I have, but it's been a while.
It's been a while for me too.
It's a great classic movie.
It is. It's really good. I remember seeing it for the first time, not really being too interested, but it was on TV. I was like, well, what the hell?
Yeah.
And it's like, this is kind of fun.
Actually, one of the bar scenes was filmed in San Diego.
Oh, really?
There, downtown.
I did not know that.
Yep.
Fun little trivia fact for you guys.
Yes.
That's cool. So
you can actually go visit.
Is it a now famous bar?
It's still just a regular old bar.
That's awesome.
That's where they filmed it. Yeah.
Cool.
All those years ago.
So yeah, we're hearing word about. I've heard rumors about this movie for a long time, about it possibly being about drones and sort of like Cars 3, I think, where the new generation coming in to push out the old and them like competing, which is a pretty relevant topic, as I've said time and time again. That's sort of the main theme of Windfall Rising, my short film. The new millennial generation trying to push out the old traditional way of doing things, and then fighting for relevance while also learning to adapt to a changing world.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's going to be the same situation with Top Gun 2. I'm mostly excited about Joseph Kosinski because he directed one of my favorite movies, Tron Legacy. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but it's pretty phenomenal.
I'm not sure if I've seen it. They weren't the reboots, right? Were they?
Well, it was a sequel, Tron Legacy. There hasn't been a Tron reboot yet.
Oh, I thought Tron was like a older movie and then they redid it.
So there was an older movie and then Tron Legacy was a sequel actually.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So it's like a 30 years
okay,
later
yeah.
scenario.
They didn't redo it.
They did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Tron, the
Tron Legacy
movie
sequel.
That they came out with.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was called Tron Legacy. I'm sorry. That's my ignorance is showing.
That's okay.
But yeah. Oh gosh, I love Tron. I loved that movie.
So phenomenal. One of the first.
The one with Jeff Bridges and.
Yeah, Jeff Bridges and Cora and. Jeff Bridges as a younger version of Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, that was so cool. I loved that. I really, I was all about Tron when that came out. So
yeah, me too.
I forgot it was called Tron Legacy.
That's okay.
Oh well.
No worries. But yeah, he did that. He also did Oblivion with Tom Cruise, so they're obviously familiar with one another.
Yeah, Oblivion was a great movie.
Oblivion was great. I don't care
movie.
what y'all say. It was awesome.
I loved it.
So I'm excited about that because he hasn't done a movie since Oblivion. That was like 2011 or 13, I think. So it's great to see him back in the fold doing his thing. And I mean, there's really nothing negative about this or anything I should worry about. I mean,
yeah, I'll be interested to see what they do with it.
Yeah, I mean, with revisiting properties 30 years later, sometimes you have that issue of like, is it going to be as good or will it completely suck or whatever? Like we've seen Zoolander 2, Dumb and Dumber 2, and countless other sequels from 20, 30 years ago that just don't hold up. And, those are comedies and those aren't doing so well right now. But with this, I think, it's Top Gun. So I think they're going to take a lot of care into what goes into it. And Tom Cruise being attached, he's a producer now. He produces almost everything he's in. So he's going to make sure that what he does feels right as well.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So,
it'll be cool.
Yeah.
I think that's a good point. They'll take care into what they're trying to do. And I think they're not thinking, well, I don't know what they're thinking, but my opinion is they might be, not as worried because they're not trying to make it, like this big blockbuster, like exactly thing. Like they're never going to do that like it was in 33 years ago,
Yeah.
So I think it'll be cool to see them trying to just, bring back old characters, and like I think it'll be neat and nostalgic for people who love the Top Gun movie
For sure. And so
see that.
and then it kind of reintroduces a new generation who doesn't know about Top Gun, which is a shame because it's a great movie.
Yeah.
I'll end this by saying it's going to be great to take the highway back into the danger zone. Plug! Check out the song, it's great. All right, number 3? No, number 4, sorry, number 4. We got some set photos from Avengers Infinity War with all this crossover goodness. Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Hulk, Wong. I think that's it. I don't remember who else is in the picture, but I'm pretty sure that's it. We also got some set images of Ant-Man, Paul Rudd on set, and Doctor Strange tussling with a unknown CGI person. Rumored to be for those of you who are comic book fans, rumored to be part of the Black Order, which is like a cult of like Thanos' children who are being sent out to find the Infinity Stones because Thanos still can't do it himself, apparently. Still sitting on his throne. Whatever. Anyways, I know this is really exciting. This is the promise of Avengers Infinity War coming to reality. We're seeing these crossovers that we've been dreaming of for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange and Iron Man.
Awesome.
Also known as the goatee buddies because they have the same facial hair. So
that's so funny.
Wondering if that dialogue from the comics will make it into the movie. We've obviously seen other set photos of Vision and Scarlet Witch on set, not really revealing or anything, but this is just the promise of Infinity War, and it's great to see Doctor Strange getting immersed into the universe outside of his own cinematic universe with his solo film. So I don't know, it's just awesome. I don't want to speculate too much, but it's, we know what Infinity War is going to be. It's going to be the culmination of everything they've been doing since Iron Man 1, meaning almost every character that's been in these movies that are huge or even minor are going to be in these films. Like, they're going to tie everything together with a nice little bow, and then by the end of Avengers 4, we will have something new that isn't it isn't going to be Phase 4 is what I'm hearing. It's like, it's all I know is that it's different. Like, the only thing we really know that's going to happen after Phase 3 is the first film in Phase 4 will be Spider-Man 2, which means we'll get sort of his perspective of what happened in those two movies and how that changes his world and the world as a whole. Because I feel like there might be a reset button set figuratively and literally for the MCU. Mm-hmm. Some actors are leaving. This might be their last films, including Robert Downey Jr., who's sort of danced around the possibility of sticking around longer. But I don't know. I think they're waiting to announce that he will hang up the armor for good after this movie.
Oh, that would just kill my heart.
Yeah, and I think never say never. He could come back 5-10 years down the road.
That is true. They like to do that, don't they?
Yeah, but I also think that I agree when people say that, like, these characters are kind of like James Bond in a sense, that you can still recast and continue on as if nothing ever changed. Obviously, the big debate is, like, Robert Downey Jr. He is Iron Man. Like, he's...
No, you couldn't recast Iron Man. I don't think you could. I think in this universe, you couldn't recast, because James Bond, they're
it's part of the franchise to recast James Bond. Like, people are used to there being a new James Bond.
Right. But I think in this, you would have gotten used to these iconic actors and characters. That's who they are. If you, I don't.
But then again,
that would be a good
when
thing.
Sean Connery started out as Bond in the '60s, he did 6 or 7 movies before he hung up. So people probably had to.
Yeah,
but
I think
people were probably saying the same thing. I think, like, you can't recast James Bond.
I think that would be weird. I think that would just be odd, especially in this.
Plus, you've also recasted Spider-Man 3 times.
Well, that's different because that's a different. I feel like that's a different universe. So he never got into the Avengers. He never got into, like, this team.
True. That's true. That's
and
a good
so
point.
now they're starting with the Tom Holland Spider-Man with Iron Man,
in
like
the
that
MCU
in
now.
the MCU. The other ones, like you've explained to me before, they're their own separate thing, and they didn't. I think that's the reason.
Right.
Obviously, also why they didn't cast Andrew Garfield I will not mention.
We'll get to that.
But I don't think that they cast him as the new Spider-Man because they didn't want the baggage of that movie. They wanted to start new with this, and I think they're gonna go with this. So I don't know. I am all the way. This is probably gonna piss off a lot of people. This is very controversial what I'm about to say, but I am Team Iron Man all the way. Don't get me wrong, I love me some Cap.
You just might have bought yourself a ticket off the show.
But I love Iron Man. I love Robert Downey Jr. I love the character, and I think a lot of people do too. And I don't think.
Weren't you wearing a Team Cap shirt this 4th of July?
I was. I'm a traitor.
Don't you like that, folks? We got a hypocrite in the house.
See, I can't choose. I love them both, but I love Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man. That's who I love.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
And oh gosh, so I don't think that would be wise of the MCU to
recast. Yeah. No, it's tough because he's still a big part, and I've even come around to really liking the character. Initially when Iron Man 1-2 came out, I was just like, this guy's kind of an asshole, but he's matured and grown. In fact, I bought my second Iron Man action figure last week, so it's working.
He's an asshole, but he has a good heart.
Yes.
Deep down underneath all of it, he really is a good person. And
right. Let's get back to the photos real quick. One thing I noticed about Iron Man specifically is that he's got the arc reactor back in his chest. So I'm wondering if something's happened to him that he has to get an arc reactor put back in his chest again.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Unless that's just a CGI. They're going to put the suit over him. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. This looks like, I don't even know what he's
It's a jacket
wearing.
of some sort. It's a cool Tony Stark-esque jacket.
Yeah. He's just chilling.
Yeah, either A, it's going to be morphed over with his CGI armor, or B, he actually needs to get the arc reactor and he's dying or something.
Yeah.
And that'll lead into, it's kind of be like Logan. It'll be a little poetic.
Yeah.
If he does hit the can.
Yeah.
Anyways, but like I said, this is the promise of Infinity War. These crossovers we've already seen: Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Captain America, Star-Lord in a scene together, and now we're seeing these guys together. I want to see more stuff with Cap. I want to see what his costume looks like. We saw Robert Downey Jr.'s new Iron Man suit. That looks pretty dope. And if it's the last one we get, well, it's a nice one to cap
it looks
off.
Pretty cool, but at the same time,
that's not it.
Oh,
it's that one.
This one.
She was looking at the Mark 1.
No, Sorry,
it's okay, Shelby.
No, I would say. Sorry, I was gonna say something about
the Mark 1,
but that's okay. Yeah.
Well, my bad then.
Anyways, I'm looking at these pictures. Hold on, let me get back. Technical difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
And like they didn't really change the new one too much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just it's just funny how they don't really change a whole lot. They kind of just like, you know, even from like back to this costume, it was kind of like every time you see the costumes all together, they're kind of just a little step up of like they don't really do a whole lot,
right?
You know?
Because they don't want to change it too much because that's a lot of work, but they also want to sell more toys, so they have to keep creating new armors. That's why
that's true. I always forget about the business behind the movies.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what's wrong with the old suit? It was great, you know, but.
Because I even it's a funny thing most people don't realize, but like the suit in Iron Man 3 is the exact same suit in Avengers Age of Ultron. The colors have just switched. So in Iron Man 3, it was a yellow suit with some red highlights.
Right, that's right.
In Iron Man 3, it's the same suit, but it's a red suit with yellow highlights.
Ah, see.
So yeah, that's a little tricky for it. But anyways, we should move on to the next story. But like I said, promise of Infinity War is these crossovers, so hopefully we'll get to see a ton of crossovers in the actual movie, which I'm sure we will, both Avengers 3 and 4, so stay tuned.
Yes.
Alright, number 5. Michelle Rodriguez is threatening to leave the Fast and Furious franchise if it does not improve on its female characters. Now, I haven't seen Fast 8, Fate of the Furious, freaking stupid title, but whatever. Whatever. The whole franchise is stupid anyway, so.
Hey, they're pretty cool.
They are pretty cool.
They're just, kind of one of those movies that are like, I just want to see some awesome action, just ridiculousness. Yeah. I love it.
You're right, but
it's fun.
There's a certain point where you're get annoyed by the point where they're fighting submarines and Jason Statham is karate chopping dudes while holding a baby. It's just like, what the hell is going on?
I think that's why this franchise works, because it's so outrageous. It's so not life that it's just so awesome. I don't know how to explain it. It's just so awesome.
I'm just waiting for them to go to space in the next one.
Oh, yes. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's drive cars on the moon.
Yes.
Oh, that's fun.
Anyways, Michelle Rodriguez threatened to leave the franchise. I haven't seen Fast 8, so I don't know what type of role she had. I heard it was a very condensed one. But she is a big presence in these films. Like, she is the wife of Vin Diesel's character. So I don't understand what she wants. Does she want to be the main star of the franchise? Does she want more action? Does she want more screen time? What does she want?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry, but this has been Vin Diesel's franchise since the beginning. This is something he has worked his ass off to create and build up and rescue, because it was, the first movie and the second movie and the third movie were like crap. And then he's like, I want to bring this back. I want to beef it up. If I'm going to do this, we need to do it differently. And that's when Fast and Furious 4 came out, and it's been going uphill ever since. So I don't understand does she want a spin-off? Does she want a Letty spin-off? I mean,
I don't think anyone would watch that.
I that's the thing. It's like, I think she's almost overselling her, I don't want to sound like a jerk, but she's almost overselling her role in the franchise. Yes, she is a big presence. Like I said, she is the wife of Vin Diesel's character, and she had a big presence when she came back, because she left the franchise in 4 and 5. She died, and then she came back to life in 6, and she's been a big presence ever since. So I don't understand what she wants.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about this yesterday, and at first it was kind of like, I can see her point. I totally get that, because as an actress, you know, there are a lot of different things that, you know, your male counterparts will, you know, they'll get paid more or whatever it is.
Which is totally, should not be a thing.
I mean, yeah, it happens. It sucks, but whatever. And, but, you know, as far as the depth of the character, maybe she wanted, you know, she doesn't want to just be Dom's wife. She wants to do, you know, keep being like the badass, like female hero character that she has been in the past. Maybe that's kind of what she's feeling. Like, oh, am I getting kind of, you know, shoved under the rug here, where now these, you know, The Rock and Vin Diesel and like they're all getting, you know, their claim to fame. I'm not sure. Because I haven't really seen her in a whole lot else, you know?
Yeah, that's
so maybe that's kind of what she wants, which I don't blame her. But I'm starting to think like, well, what exactly? That's a good point. Like, what does she want? Like, that's kind of, I kind of imagine that's what her character would do at this point in the series, or this point in the what is that?
Franchise.
The franchise. Yeah. So it's kind of like, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know why she made that comment. It was kind of random and interesting.
Right. And also, I mean, again, spoilers for Fast 8, because I'm an idiot and I looked at spoilers. So go to the timeline number, and if you don't want to hear spoilers for Fast 8, I mean, do you mind?
No.
Okay,
I don't.
cool.
I actually really want to know what happens.
So, do you remember in Fast 5, there was this FBI agent that Dom had a thing with?
Yes.
And then they got together in Fast 6, and then Letty came back, and he's like, sorry, I gotta go back to Letty because she's my girl, whatever.
Right.
She, I guess, dies in Fast 8, and she had a child with Vin Diesel's character,
oh, wow.
Dom. And so the reason why he's turning on the family is because of this baby. He needs to protect this kid. So then they learned that, and they're like, okay, we gotta help Dom, we gotta help the kid. So that's when they all team up and they save the kid. That's what I'm talking about, the whole fight with the baby.
Oh, so what? Okay,
so then Letty becomes so that's when Letty is like, maybe we should quit the business and be a family and raise this kid as our own. So it's like, that's a great thing for your character.
Yeah.
What more could you want?
I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah, and like you made some pretty good points. Like, I understand if she feels like she's being pushed under the rug, because like Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham's character are both getting like a spin-off because their dynamic in Fast 8 I guess was so electric.
Right.
Like, people love that, so they want to see those two characters in a spin-off movie. So that's happening. So I don't know if she wants that for her character, or if she just wants to have a bigger presence. But that
wouldn't make sense.
No, it wouldn't. Yeah, and also the thing. If she left, they killed off that FBI lady so that Letty could still be the main female lead of the franchise.
Yeah.
And so she's sort of kicking herself in the boot to leave, because then it's like, okay, we just killed this girl so you could be the main female character. If you leave, then we're going to have to get someone to just replace your character altogether. They're going to have to explain some stupid thing. Oh, she's on vacation raising the baby or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, with Paul Walker. I mean,
thinking about some conspiracy level stuff here. Maybe it's not even having to do with the movies. Who knows? Maybe it's the way she has been treated, like with wages or like on set, or like I really have no idea. Don't hang me for this. I don't know what they're like on set, but they even did say interesting things on this article. I mean, it is Collider. I'm not exactly, sure how they're reliable.
They're pretty reliable. They don't reveal it. They don't report anything that they don't know for sure.
Yeah, so they said we already know
we
that
love you, Collider.
Vin Diesel and Dwayne Johnson didn't get along on filming of The Fate of the Furious.
I
thought that was interesting.
I think that was a stunt.
Oh.
I think that was a stunt because they're against each other in this movie.
Oh, that makes sense.
I mean, don't quote me on that, but because they're fine now.
Oh yeah.
So it's just like that had to have been a publicity stunt.
Oh, I'm sure.
Raise awareness for the movie, which was great because I think they were supposed to do something like that at WWE and it never worked out. So this is like what they ended up doing it now for Fast 8.
That's funny.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Maybe she's feeling mistreated by something else and is taking it out on the franchise. I really have no idea because I don't know why she would. I don't think we have the whole picture, basically, is what I'm saying, because that, to us, with what we know, it doesn't make sense why she would, what she literally says, I hope, they show some love to the women of the franchise on the next one, or I might just have to say goodbye to a love franchise. I'm like, that's a really big statement.
She's basically saying goodbye right then and there. She has a picture of like all the fans and Vin Diesel and one of the other only female leads in the franchise at the moment. It's like, are you leaving now, or are you threatening to leave? Because it looks like you're leaving now.
Yeah, it's just interesting. It's been a good ride, and I'm grateful for the opportunity the fans and studio have provided over the years. But I don't know. And even Collider says it's a weird thing to negotiate your position in a social media post. But isn't that what we all do now? But even still, it's like, it's weird. Yeah,
and Vin Diesel has come out and supported her on this. So maybe you're right. Maybe it is more than what we're assuming right now. She does have a right to voice her concerns, and hopefully the studio hears her out. But at a certain point, there is only so much the studio can do for her. And I don't know, maybe it's just on her part as an actress, as a producer, to try and get a new solo vehicle for her to star in or something.
Yeah.
Or, Fast 9 is it's a set thing, but we don't know what it's about. So they have, I believe, Fast 9 and 10 will close out the franchise as a whole, at least the main.
Well, that's what I was saying. I was thinking maybe that's kind of the, how many movies has she been in? And she wasn't there for a few movies. I don't know what that was about. But, it's kind of just like, I think this is what they want to do. Like, this is how her character should end. Like, what more? I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, so it could be about money. It could be, which, let me make that clear right now. That is totally unfair. Everybody should be paid around the same, depending on the beef of the role. She's been in this franchise for a long time. She deserves around the same, whatever Vin Diesel's being paid.
It's just interesting. I mean, that's a whole other thing because Vin Diesel is definitely has more, I guess you could say, quote unquote, star power than
he's also like Tom Cruise. He's producing everything.
That's what I mean. Too, so I mean, I think there's a lot of obviously there's a lot of politics involved with that whole kind of thing, because we know that that's a real thing. Like, I think it was like Scarlett Johansson didn't get like half as much as Robert Downey Jr. on like the Marvel movies or like just different things like that. It's just, I'm not necessarily sure if it is because they're women, but like we know that there have been things like that. I think it really has to do with star power, but I know that that's also a very real thing.
And that's another can of worms too. We could probably talk for another hour about wages.
So who knows?
Stuff, so.
What we're saying, maybe that could be the issue with Michelle Rodriguez here, but we don't know. I'm not sure. All we know is that she's upset about something. And, oh well.
Yeah. No. I hope that her concerns are just and that she gets what she deserves.
Right.
Definitely hope the studio hears her out, but I hope she understands that she is still a big part of this franchise, but she's not the biggest part of this franchise.
Right, yeah. And I don't see how being Dom's wife is not a rewarding role.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they were saying too.
Right.
Like,
And
that's not a very rewarding role to be Dolph. I'm like, why not?
Michelle Rodriguez is already a badass in her own right, so she don't have to worry about her image. She's okay.
Right.
She's okay.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it.
Maybe we just hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
All right, well, we should move on. So that was our top 5. Running down the list again, that was Baby Driver 2, A Possibility, Samuel L. Jackson returning as Nick Fury and Captain Marvel, Top Gun Maverick gets a 2019 release date with Joseph Kosinski directing, Avengers Infinity War set photos show off Iron Man's new armor and Avenger crossover awesomeness, and Michelle Rodriguez threatens to leave the Fast and Furious franchise. And now we get on to our topic of the week. So last week, Spider-Man Homecoming is up. Well, we're recording this on Friday, so it's already out. So Spider-Man Homecoming is upon us. And I haven't seen it yet. I'm planning on going to see it next week because money's a thing, unfortunately. And Baby Driver tickets were hella expensive, but it was totally worth it. Go see in Sinopolis. Totally recommend Sinopolis.
Yeah, it's great.
Anyways, so Spider-Man has been in 7 movies over the past 10, 15, actually 17 years. The first one came out in 2000, I believe. And he's been in 6 solo films. This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, the Spider-Man was really one of the first Marvel superheroes, or superheroes in general, to really jumpstart the superhero franchise.
True. Yeah, wow.
Like, I remember watching the first movie as a kid, and it's one of my favorite movies today. I didn't realize how good it was until I really grew up and started getting into filmmaking and what really went into that film behind the scenes. Now, I have my issues with it. I don't think it's a totally accurate comic adaptation, but it in its own right, it's a phenomenal movie. Like, Oscar-worthy, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're here to sort of run through Spider-Man's film history, starting with the original Spider-Man film with Tobey Maguire, directed by Sam Raimi, all the way up until Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Homecoming and Civil War. And the reason why Shelby is here is because like I said, we were having a unintentional Sally Field marathon. 4th of July, we were watching Mrs. Doubtfire, we watched The Amazing Spider-Man, we watched The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I think it's safe to say you had a pretty emotional reaction to
oh my gosh,
one, if not both of the movies.
It was, I've seen the first one. I saw when it first came out, and I remember just loving it, but I just love the way they there's just so many things to say. They're all in my brain right now.
Yeah, we're gonna go through all the films one after the other. I love the way
that they're just so emotional, and it's really a great experience.
Mm-hmm. So. The thing that makes, I think, the villains specifically so great is they're real characters, and they don't always start out as bad people.
Exactly.
Some of them just get a tough break and decide to take it out.
It's very
to an
human.
extreme.
Exactly.
Very human, yeah.
So it was, I really liked what they did with the films.
Yeah, so let's start off with the original Spider-Man from 2000. I believe it was 2000. I hope I'm right on that one. So, yeah, I remember seeing this for the first time. My dad, being my dad, he recorded on he got it from Blockbuster, recorded it on a VHS tape, and that was it was cut out to, it was, you can like cut out parts on VHSs, you can like record over them.
Oh yeah.
Well, my dad would record over the, like, really scary parts for us. So like Aunt May getting attacked by the Green Goblin.
Oh yeah, that was scary.
He cut that out. He cut out a lot of the stuff with the Green Goblin talking to himself in the mirror.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Him getting impaled by his own glider.
Yeah.
All that was cut out. So then when I watch it as an adult, I was like, that was in the movie?
Yeah.
Because to me, as a kid, I'm just like, that's the movie. That is the movie. And
that's so funny.
The one thing
I do remember that being really scary, actually, but I was okay. I remember watching it.
It really isn't that scary when you look at it, but the one thing I was surprised he didn't cut out was the kissing scene.
What?
He didn't cut that out.
Oh, I thought you said he did. I was like,
no,
what?
Yeah, I was just...
Well, because that's beautiful. I mean,
right,
that's classic.
And it's so iconic now. And
yeah.
it was just like, just looking back, it was like, I don't know if I was a parent, I would have probably cut that out. But I mean, I'm glad he didn't because it's
I wouldn't have.
I think he cut out the fight scene before that moment.
Oh, that's funny. You got a director's.
I mean, I was like parents.
That would be longer.
Parental cut, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I was like 5 years old, so I was really young when this came out.
Oh my gosh, I see. Yeah.
So
I think I saw it. Well, it was 2002 actually came out.
It was.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Cool.
So.
Yeah, so I think, was I 5? I was like 6 or 7 years old, so still really young.
I think I don't remember seeing it in theaters. Like, I think I saw them, like, a few years after they came out or something, you know, so I was a little bit older to, like, be able to, you know, understand everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my parents would never take me then because just, you know, of what they were.
Oh, yeah, you did.
They were dark, they were scary, but they were also, you know, fun and inspiring, and I never saw Spider-Man 1 in the theater, never saw Spider-Man 2. My dad did take me and my brother to see Spider-Man 3.
That's cool.
Which we were 13, 14 years old at the time, so we were old enough to see these movies. And
yeah.
My brother and I have just been... Spider-Man's been part of my life for a long time.
Yeah.
As most of you
I
know.
want to go back and watch those again.
Yeah, definitely. As most of you know, I'm a huge toy collector. One of my first... I remember... I have asthma, and I remember being on a hayrack ride in like Wyoming or something, and having my first big allergic reaction where like my face was blue, I couldn't breathe, I was rushed to the hospital, they gave me a little bottle of Benadryl, and I was fine. And my mom was like, I don't know if this was like she was happy I was still alive or just like whatever, but she's like, okay, honey, we're gonna go to the store and you get to pick your own toy. It's like, really? And so Spider-Man was coming out at the time, so one of my first action figures that I got was this Spider-Man toy. It was like kind of with a stand of like a street light, and he was like swinging on the
so
street
cool.
light. Yeah, it was.
Oh my gosh.
It was the coolest thing ever. I was thinking about getting like a Lego set, but then I saw that I was like, I want that. That's what I want.
That's great.
So then when Spider-Man, and then I for a time I lived in Nebraska, and then I moved to Iowa. And our house was still being built at the time. And so we were staying with my grandma in Omaha. She lived like right down the street from us, so it was like we were still home.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man 2 was coming out at that time, so it was like, I gotta get a Spider-Man 2 toy. So my mom, God love her, she would always be like, okay, you have to do well in school. You have to do like ace your test. Yeah. You have to write this paper. You have to read this many chapters before you can open your toy. And if it was like a toy with multiple pieces, you can only get out one piece at a time. Great. So I think it was like this like 2-pack with Dr. Octopus and Spider-Man.
Wow, cool.
And so the first thing I got out was Spider-Man, and then I was like have Doc Ock in the box before I opened it. I was like, I'm Dr. Octopus, and I was like, I'm Spider-Man. Oh, it was such a dork.
That is so great. Oh
and then same deal with Spider-Man 3. I remember getting a Spider-Man 3 figure as well. But just that's been such a huge part of my childhood. I remember. He was just a cool character.
Yeah.
He was funny. He was cool. He was relatable. I remember watching a cartoon as well. He would have episodes where he would like talk with kids and stuff, and he would it was a character that everybody could love. Like everybody could relate to, adults and kids, and that's what was so great about him growing up. So then. Sorry, I got off on a tangent there. Going back to those first movies, just phenomenal. If you look at the behind-the-scenes stuff that Sam Raimi put into that first movie, he tries really hard to do his own thing, but really do justice to the comic.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And you don't think about it firsthand. And personally, I don't think it's the most accurate in terms of the comic, but he still. The point is he does his own thing while still really touching it on like who Peter Parker is, who Spider-Man, and that struggle. Mm-hmm. And at the center of the whole movie, that first movie, it's about a guy who's in love with a girl, just wants to be in love with this girl who slowly learns to notice him over the years, and then he learns responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility, and by the time he gets the girl, he's like, but I can't because I have a duty now, and if I'm with her, I put her in danger. I have a responsibility to protect her and the ones I love. Which, once I realized that was the whole point of the movie, I was just like, that's freaking genius, and that's just like basic storytelling. That's what you need to tell a good story. That's, the suit, the special effects, everything. That's nothing unless you have a really good story. And that movie could have easily just been a flop.
Absolutely.
It's like Spider-Man who? What?
Yeah.
And the fact
that
that
definitely started the age of,
right.
What am I trying to say? Like,
it started the age of superhero films.
Yeah, and it like held that precedent for like, all right, here it is,
And then so many films tried to mimic it, like Daredevil.
Yeah.
And the X-Men did a pretty good job doing its own thing, but like Daredevil and Fantastic Four and the Punisher, they all tried to do what Spider-Man did, and they didn't even come close.
Right.
I mean, I still kind of like the Daredevil movie, but it still has its major problems.
Things, for sure. Yeah, and it definitely did not take off as like it didn't feel like a Marvel superhero film.
Yeah, it had it just felt like a shell of a movie. Mm-hmm. Like there was something missing.
Yeah.
And it was that core story element, that theme, that message that relays all throughout the Spider-Man film. And then leading into Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 was sort of, him being an adult and struggling to maintain his normal life and the Spider-Man life, to the point where he's like, I give up. I can't be Spider-Man anymore.
Right. So
he hangs up his suit. And that's a really powerful moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pulled straight from the comics as well. And that was a great and natural progression. I think I put Spider-Man 2 up there with some of the greatest, not just the greatest superhero films, but like just the greatest sequels of all time.
Yeah.
Like and it comes full circle because he realizes that this is still his responsibility, and he can't just walk away from it.
I would say
that's sort of like it's almost like we all carry our crosses, and Spider-Man is the cross he has to bear.
Right.
For the sake, not only for those ones he loves, but for the whole world. Like he owes it to the world to do the things he does, which is save people.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Spider-Man 3. Which,
I'd say they went a little bit downhill with that.
Yeah,
it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great.
I think Spider-Man 3 gets a really tough break. I think it is definitely the worst of the three, but it's not a bad movie.
Like I said, it's not bad, but it's not great.
I mean, the guy that plays Venom is completely miscasted.
Yeah.
Like, not even close to what Eddie Brock is in the comics or what comic book fans know that character to be. But I still was into the story. I think it was a great natural progression for Peter Parker to go.
For sure.
He is sort of on top of the world. He's Spider-Man. He has the girl. Life couldn't be more perfect. And then he gets, except for Harry, of course. Harry being a jerk.
Yeah.
But then he gets into a coma, and then he wakes up, and he's like, he forgets everything, so it's all great.
Yeah.
So it's still great. And then he's going to propose to Mary Jane. But then Venom comes in, and he gives him this new persona, gives him the black suit, and makes him feel more so on top of the world, like he's the master of his, what's the word I'm looking for? He's the master of his destiny, I guess. He really takes control of his own life to the point where he's not the same person.
Right.
And it's almost like, that's kind of what temptation, what sin does to you. It like pulls you in until it's too late. And then, once he hits rock bottom, loses Mary Jane, he tries to take revenge on the Sandman when we reveal that he killed Uncle Ben, or at least unintentionally. And he comes full circle. He realizes, like, okay, that this is wrong. This is not who I am. And it's basic struggle between the dark and the light. And he comes back to the light at the end, losing some people, of course, Harry. But I think it ends, despite it not being supposed to be the last one, because they're going to make a Spider-Man 4.
Oh, wow.
Despite it not being supposed to be the last one, it ends on a pretty good note. Like, the last shot is Mary Jane and Peter hugging it out, and like you're just left with like they're gonna get back together. Spider-Man's still Spider-Man. All is right with the world.
Yeah.
So, it's not the best, but it's still great. All those villains. Let's just touch on the villains real quick. Like I said, they're not bad guys. They're just people who are given the shaft, and then they have to take matters into their own hands. Like Green Goblin specifically, his company is taken out from under him, and he takes on the persona of the Green Goblin to take back what's his, and to and the Green Goblin almost becomes another character in itself because of the treatment that he undergoes. And Norman Osborn doesn't necessarily want to do this, but he's forced to because the Goblin is sort of taken over.
Right.
And even near the end of the movie, he fights off the Goblin, and it's like, don't, it's me, stop beating me up. And you get the sense that he's not the bad guy. He's a victim of the Goblin and that persona that he comes with. And then, of course, Doc, I don't know how much you're remembering of this, but it's been a while, Doc Ock, of course, he's a friend. He becomes a friend of Peter Parker,
right?
And that becomes tough for Peter then, because he's trying to help his friend see the light, but he can't because he's so blinded by revenge. He's also being controlled by this technology crew.
And I think that's what happens with a lot of the characters, like even in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans.
Right.
Call them those.
Yeah. We'll get to this.
With Dr. Connors. I mean, that's his friend. His dad's friend. He didn't think that he was a bad guy. And he even says, this isn't you, and so I think that happens to and even Harry, he was just misunderstood. He really Peter wanted to help Harry, but he didn't want to hurt him, and he was so desperate that he couldn't see the truth or couldn't see, and I think that's what happens to a lot of these characters, like the Green Goblin, even in way back to the first ones, and Doc Ock and all that stuff. So it's really cool how they put the human element, but then they go way too far, kind of like Max in the new ones too. I'm jumping all over the place. But that's okay.
But no, you're right. All the
touching on all the villains,
movie, so they have this human element to them.
Especially Max is the one that killed me the most, because he was just so little off, but he wasn't really hurting anyone, and it was just sad how he didn't have anybody,
Right.
Anybody.
Yeah, we'll get to Max. But just to cap off the whole Sam Raimi trilogy, then you go to Spider-Man 3, and obviously you have three villains, one of which is not really that great, Venom. The other being Harry, who, obviously is already a great character because he's just blinded by the fact that Peter lied to him about being Spider-Man, and him possibly killing his father even though he didn't, and just wanting revenge and just confused. And then for me, I think the best villain in Spider-Man 3 is the Sandman, because yes, he's a criminal, but he's just trying to get money for his daughter who's undergoing cancer treatment or something. Yeah. And
they really put the human element in the villains, which I don't that is a good thing. Yeah. But also, the bad doings that they're doing are bad. That's not to say that.
Yeah. And the movie makes it. The movie definitely. It gives them redeeming qualities, but still doesn't justify what they're doing. Right. Because I mean, say what you want about the Sandman, I think he is the best villain out of that movie because he has the most engaging story, and even before Spider-Man fights him for the first time in that movie, he's like, "I don't want to hurt you. Leave before it gets worse." He's like, "Oh, that's funny. I'm the sheriff for this time." He's like, "Okay, fine." And then he punches him in the chest. And, but then at the end. When Venom's killed, Harry's dead, Sandman comes back and he tells him about why he didn't kill his uncle and why it happened the way it happened, and he's like, I'm not asking you to forgive me, I just want you to understand what happened. And Peter's like, well, I forgive you anyways, and then there's nothing else to say, so he goes off, and that was perfect. I honestly thought oh my gosh, the Sandman's gonna come back and they're gonna team up, it's gonna be great. But that's unlikely now. But I don't care what y'all say. I love Sandman. I think he's a great villain in Spider-Man 3. And all the villains in Spider-Man, the Spider-Man Sam Raimi trilogy, are fantastic.
Absolutely.
And to segue into the next one, the problem I had with Tobey Maguire, as great as he was as Peter Parker, he wasn't a great Spider-Man. And that's when we get into Andrew Garfield, who I think wasn't a great Peter Parker, but was a great Spider-Man. Because Spider-Man is very quippy and on his toes and the persona of Spider-Man and Peter Parker are two separate things, and they almost feel like the same in both the Sam Raimi films and the Mark Webb films.
Interesting. I would have to kind of disagree with that because in the I would say for definitely the first trilogy, you know, the Sam Raimi films, I would say there wasn't a clear. I would agree with that. You know, Tobey Maguire didn't do a great Spider-Man, but did an okay Peter Parker, you know, and it was, you know, gave a good character to that. But then I would say Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, the way he took that it was so, especially in the first movie, it was so clear that he was this quiet, like, kind of almost nerdy, like, you know, awkward kind of kid.
He was kind of the outsider.
Yeah, and then when he became Spider-Man, you started seeing this personality come out of nowhere, you know, which was really, really cool. And he was, like you said, like, witty and, like, so great. And I don't know, I really think that he played that well. He was able to play Peter Parker, you know, the nobody.
Right.
The outcast kind of thing, and then was able to become, like, this badass, awesome Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And then in the second movie, you see him kind of become a more confident Peter Parker, which was cool, but still being himself. You know, still being kind of awkward and quirky and cute. But then really settling into, like, the Spider-Man and also Peter Parker as himself. Like, I don't need to be so, you know, so meek, and, you know, now I have this newfound confidence because I'm Spider-Man.
Yeah. You know, it was interesting. I was watching the behind the scenes for The Amazing Spider-Man, the first one, and the reason why I say the thing to say about him not being a great Peter Parker is because just on the basis of the comics, it's not great, but I think in the movie, in sense of the movie, like, he does a great job at portraying the character that he's given. Because Mark Webb definitely wanted him to be a more modernized, like, a nerd is not what a nerd used to be back in the day.
Right.
So he wanted to, like, what would a geek, or just what would he's an outcast, you know, he's an orphan. He definitely took a much different approach to Spider-Man and Peter Parker, you know, to not take the just traditional nerd route.
Right.
So in terms of the character that Mark Webb created, a different, more modern, contemporary Peter Parker, I think, yeah, you're right. That's a great character, and he did a great job with that.
Yeah.
And I think as I've developed over the years, I've sort of let go of just, like, it's an interpretation.
Yeah.
And at this point, Spider-Man is like the James Bond of Marvel superheroes. He's been
that's
done
so
3
true.
times, and I'm convinced that, based on what I've seen just from Civil War and the bits from Homecoming, that this is the Spider-Man that we've been wanting. He is a nerd, and he is reserved, and he is kind of a loser in high school, but he is that totally different persona that he can't be in high school. Because that is what's so great about Spider-Man, is that he really
puts on the mask.
He puts on a mask, and he becomes. They're two different characters, but they're the same person.
Yeah.
Because he can't be the person he is as Spider-Man in high school.
Right.
You know?
And I think the casting was perfect because I've been waiting for the young Spider-Man.
The high school Spider-Man, yeah.
You know, we've been waiting for that. And, like, okay, we'll talk about Emma Stone in a second, but Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield did a really, really great job as playing high schoolers.
We'll stay on the Amazing Spider-Man series now. We'll sort of transition onto that. So, yeah, go ahead. What were you saying?
Yeah, so, like, I think they did a really great job as, you know, playing the high school, you know, Spider-Man and Gwen Stacy, or Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy, but they were still older, and you can, you know,
they were like
tell.
20, 25.
And so it was still kind of like, okay, that's fine. But now Tom Holland, he's actually like
21.
Yeah, 21.
But he's playing like a 15, 16.
But he has that like baby face, you know, that totally works as the young Spider-Man. I can really believe that he's really in high school, and that's how Spider-Man is supposed to be, you know. So it was like very cool to see that. And he's so funny. I mean, obviously it's the script writing, but the way he delivers it, and the way that he you know, he's just this cocky little kid when he's Spider-Man, you know, it's really cool. But yeah, so going back to The Amazing Spider-Man, and
Emma and Andrew.
Oh my gosh.
And that chemistry was real. We were talking when we were watching Spider-Man 2.
Well,
it's so real to the point where it's like,
that's
I don't even think
actors they are. You know, Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield, they're serious actors, and they no, like we've seen it in all the other movies they've been in thus far. I mean, Hacksaw Ridge with Teresa Palmer, beautiful, authentic. You didn't feel like they were acting. You know, that's just the type of actors that they are. La La Land, Ryan Gosling. They already have had that chemistry though, so that's why that was really cool. But I feel like Emma Stone was still able to reach that kind of charming, beautiful. Just even with in Birdman with
Michael Keaton.
No,
Oh, you're talking about the relationship?
What is his name?
Ed Norton?
Ed Norton.
Yeah.
Okay, like even that was authentic
That's
and natural
creepy,
and beautiful. You know, like it was cool. She's a great flawless actor, and when you have two beautiful actors who really know how to act, there you go. It doesn't feel like they're acting.
They're kind of what carried that franchise.
Oh yeah.
And I think their chemistry is what kind of saved that movie, because I think it has a little bit of Sony's obvious fingerprints in there. So yeah, it's great. And then look, Max is a tragic character. Let's talk about Max real quick. So
you feel so sorry for him,
right?
You know, and
even though the point where he's like, "Don't you know I'm Electro," and then he's doing like the dubstep thing at the end. It's just like, that's a little. But
I didn't mind that. I really didn't mind that. I don't know. It was kind of cool.
It was cool, but it felt just a little cheesy. Just sort of like, but I mean,
but like I think honestly, a little cheese in comic book stories, and this is where JJ and I thoroughly disagree on a lot of stuff. I think it's like, okay, you disagree with this too. Like, I'll go off topic just a little bit with like Flash and Arrow and other DC Comics spin-offs with like TV shows and stuff.
Don't like them.
I think a little cheese is not bad because the comics were like that. They were larger than life. They would say cheesy jokes that you're like would facepalm if you read them now, you know, but they're classic and iconic, and I think that's why having that little extra thing in there really doesn't bother me. It makes me think of comic book. It doesn't make me think of, I don't believe this.
I can see that. The issue I have with DC though is that just the actors are just, they don't do good with the material they're given.
I would have to disagree. I really would have to disagree. I think Stephen Amell and like a lot of those people
they
are,
have moments,
really good.
But it's just, I don't know, it's the script writing is so on point and so like it feels the same with every episode. To the point where I was like, what
I don't know.
doing?
To each his own.
But that's just to each his own. So,
but anyways,
do you have to get going?
I actually, unfortunately, do.
Okay. Well, do you want to give your? I'll finish this off here, but if you want to just give your closing remarks on Spider-Man, and then if you want to plug yourself for social media stuff.
Okay. I'll have to say that the biggest thing out of the Spider-Man movies, because I have not seen the second one until just this last weekend, and spoiler, if you haven't seen it.
Spoilers, go to the time code.
I mean, you should see it by now, but
yeah.
The biggest thing that took me a while to get over was the Gwen Stacy's death. I mean, that was so shocking. That was such a plot twist for me. I mean, I didn't know beforehand that was, you know, obviously what happened in the comics, and that's awesome. I love it when, you know, the universe really sticks to the comic universe, you know, whatever. And because that's important to the fans and to people who know and love these stories.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a very comic accurate ending.
Yeah, yeah, but it was just so, the way that it was shot and the way that they built up, you know, their romance and relationship, and right before that you felt like everything was honestly going to be okay. Peter finally made his decision to be with Gwen, and it was going to be that, and oh my gosh, just everything that Peter's been through, it was just so tragic to see Gwen actually die. Like, I couldn't even believe that, but the only thing I can justify is that Gwen did not die in vain, because Spider-Man would not have been able to defeat Electro if she wasn't there, because she needed to be there to turn on the power switch. So, you know, that's all I can say. And that hurts my heart, but hey, it was a wonderful movie. I really think it was a really great movie, and I loved Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield, and I'm sad they didn't work out in real life too. But hey,
really
it
tragic.
happens.
Yeah,
it happens.
They're probably still good friends. Who's your favorite Spider-Man actor? I mean,
we didn't get to Homecoming really so much, or like the new movie.
Probably touch on that.
Then you won't touch on that, but I'm very excited to see that movie. I can't wait. And I'm excited to see how Tom Holland does with this role. And with Iron Man, I love the chemistry between how Iron Man is Tony Stark is taking young Peter Parker under his wing and going into the Avengers. So I'm super excited about that.
It's gonna be great.
And
who's your favorite Spider-Man?
My favorite Spider-Man actor, Tobey Maguire. Don't get me wrong, did a great job. He was the start of the Spider-Man franchise, and Tom Holland is this new upcoming Spider-Man who is beautiful and witty and great, and I'm excited to see more of him. But I would have to say Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, I knew it.
I love him so much as an actor, and it was really cool to see him in a superhero role like that, and I think he did a great job. And I loved his Peter Parker, even though, like Vinny said, I agree with that on regards to the comics and how it wasn't exactly the comic Peter Parker, but it was the modern Peter Parker that I think at that time was relatable to us. I was in high school at that time, and that was like the cute, like nerdy, but like attractive and mysterious. Like I would be like, oh, I would date him. Like every person was like, oh, I can relate to this kid, or even in the music that they chose, it was really cool because those were the songs that were out at that time, and it was like, oh yes, this is my movie. So
it felt very relatable.
Yeah, very relatable, and I just loved Andrew Garfield's performance as that Spider-Man, and just I think it was just a star cast with the Emma Stone and him together. I loved her as Gwen Stacy, and I really loved that. So I would have to go with Andrew Garfield, but I'm excited to see Tom Holland, and I appreciate Tobey Maguire and what he did with the role in the first place. So,
all right.
And Kirsten Dunst.
Can't
forget about her.
She
did a great job.
Great Mary Jane.
Iconic.
Still the best, only the best, the only one. All right, well,
okay.
Unfortunately, Shelby has to go. I'll still continue the conversation. We're running way over time, but hey, who cares?
So what? Who cares?
So Shelby, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Vinny. Thank you for having me. Thank you
Absolutely.
all.
Where can people
listening.
find you online if they want to follow your stuff?
Okay.
You're on Twitter, right?
I think I'm on Twitter.
Instagram.
I don't do Twitter a whole lot. I need to get better at that. Look. I have an Instagram and Facebook, obviously, and a website soon to come for my acting.
At Shelby Brienne.
Yeah, at Shelby Brienne.
I know her stuff more than she does.
Brienne Shelby. I don't remember. Look at one of the other. Just find me on
Shelby Turner,
But hey,
you'll see her face.
In the future, I will be on social media more. I'm kind of getting my foot in the door here with all that stuff. So hey, if any of you can help me out with that, let me know.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay.
Talented
thank you all.
actress, guys. Watch out for Shelby Turner.
Thank you, Vinny.
Thanks for being on the show. Sorry you have to go so
I
soon.
know.
We probably should have finished like 15 minutes ago, but like I said, I'll cap it off.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it was a pleasure being here.
Oh, thank you. Pleasure as always.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, Shelby.
And then you can pause it or whatever.
You just go. Let this roll.
Oh, awkward. Okay.
Uncensored.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Shelby. Thanks again. All right. Well, here we are by my lonesome doing the rest of the show. So here we go. Max Dillon, played by Jamie Foxx in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Shelby made up some pretty good She had some really great points. Like, he is a little cheesy, it's a little weird, it's a little on the nose, Max, but maybe she's right. A little cheese isn't that bad for comic book movies. But I liked his Electro, honestly. When he became Electro, it was like you feel for him. You don't really get that he is a bad guy. He's just like the rest of them, just been given the shaft and is angry, just really angry. Same with Harry, not the Rhino. The Rhino's probably the only villain next to Venom in the movies that's been like, I am the Rhino! Whatever. But no, for what Spider-Man 2 is, I think it's an okay movie. I don't hate it as much as other people do, but it's fine. And then I don't think The Amazing Spider-Man is my favorite of the Spider-Man reboots, but it's good as well. Like, Andrew Garfield does such a great job because of the type of actor he is, like Shelby said. He is such top-notch. I mean, he almost got nominated for an Oscar last year for Hacksaw Ridge. That's how good he is. So they really lucked out getting him to play Spider-Man. I think it's unfortunate that he had to get fired. I mean, but that's showbiz for you. It's a shame he couldn't be part of the MCU, even though I think they're already planning that. They initially planned on putting the Oscorp Tower in Avengers, putting those two universes together. I don't know. But whatever. We have Tom Holland now, and it's all good. So moving on now to Civil War to cap off the conversation. I was so happy the day they announced Spider-Man would be in the MCU. Like, it's a dream I've had for so long to see Captain America and Spider-Man in the same scene together. And the fact that I've lived long enough to see it is, well, not all too surprising, but just a major blessing. And so grateful that we have an actor like Tom Holland, and so glad that he is getting this opportunity, and he's grateful for it as well. And having that one scene with Cap and Spider-Man fighting and talking was just, it made my day. Made my life, more so to speak. And it immediately got me excited for more Spider-Man in the MCU. Tom Holland is a phenomenal young actor. I almost said actress. Oh, no, he is not an actress. He is an actor. Actor. Yeah, and they just did such a great job with him in Civil War. And with Homecoming coming out, we have a great cast. We have Tom Holland, obviously, as Spider-Man. We have Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Iron Man. We have Michael Keaton, one of my favorite actors of all time, playing the Vulture. We have Zendaya playing a mysterious character named Michelle. That Hawaiian kid who's playing his friend Ned, who we've never seen in the movies before. He's a great, funny addition to the cast. We have the kid from Grand Budapest playing Flash, which I was kind of against. But honestly, how would you feel if all you saw around you were white characters? And that's not really realistic. So in a perfect world, I would not have casted him as Flash, but I'm okay with it. I gotta see the movie to really judge it, but if he does a great job, that's all that matters. And there's been 3 movies with a white Flash. What's wrong with one of a different color? What does it even matter? Why does Flash have to be a specific color? It does not matter to me. I don't care. So yeah, I guess we are going way over time, but just to cap off this whole episode, this whole topic of the week, Spider-Man is such a phenomenal character, a phenomenal movie character, and a phenomenal comic book character, just a great character in general. And to have him in the MCU where he belongs is great. And what I'm hoping I get out of Spider-Man Homecoming, nothing too ridiculous, but I want this to really feel like a homecoming, where we really feel like that he gets infused into this world, and that by the end of the movie we feel like Spider-Man is where he belongs and the status quo has been restored. Let's keep going. I want that more than anything for this movie. I'm happy with the casting, the costume, more or less. I could do without the Iron Man Stark tech, but whatever. I'm just so grateful for this chance to get Spider-Man back into the MCU and to have more Spider-Man stories to tell. Like, the possibilities are endless. I'm hoping to God that Marvel and Sony renegotiate to keep Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the MCU. But if it doesn't work out, well, then it doesn't work out. Whatever. No promises, but it'd be a great thing. So yeah, that is our conversation about Spider-Man and his run in the films. Obviously, he's going to be in a bunch more to come. I don't think we're going to have another reboot of Spider-Man for a very long time. I hope not. If we get another one, I'm probably going to be done with Spider-Man, because I was almost done with Spider-Man after this, which is sad because I'm a huge fan. But I'm rambling now, so let's stop the conversation. All right. We covered a lot of ground today. Talked a lot about Spider-Man and MCU and a lot of stuff, so this was a great episode. I'm sorry I've been away for a while, guys. I've been busy working on Windfall Rising, my short film, so that's taken up a lot of my time, Expect more weekly episodes from me, more special guests. As I said, I'm going to be leaving the San Diego area for about 3 months, going back home after college. So I won't be around my regular California friends, unfortunately, but I'll be back. I'll be back in a couple months, I think. But I'm definitely going to reach out to Omaha guests in Nebraska and Omaha, as I said, and Iowa, and have them come on, because there are artists all over the world of different forms of art, more than just films and television and acting and camera stuff. There's so many great artists all over the world that I want to cover, so be on the lookout for that. All right, well, thank you all for watching this episode of the Vince Salerno Podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel where you can check out my short films, my trailer reactions, and more episodes of the Vince Salerno Podcast. Big thanks to Shelby Turner for coming on the show today. She's a phenomenal actress, best friend of mine, and look out for more of her stuff. She's a great actress. Hoping to do another project with her before I leave, but we'll see. All right, thank you all for watching. Have a great week. God bless, and peace out.